Bum 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 bum. Good evening. Welcome back to Frugal Outdoors and myself, Dylan, and I'm down here with Nick tonight. We are at Totland. Basically, you can see I've got the big brolly set up. The wind has been howling, so surprise, surprise, it's super windy. It's been raining pretty much all day, but as you can see out there, got a bit of a break in the rain, but it's still, like I say, it's still gusting probably 20, 25, straight from the west. So anywhere on this side of the island, on the west side of the island, is just getting hammered really. So we snuck out right into Totland, just Colwell side of the landslide, in the hope of trying to pick up a bream. My last video, I did that thing where pretty much most of the people down there are doing, and I've chased the big fish. I've chased the big fish stories. There's been some big fish coming out in the back of the island, and I went down there trying to get one myself. Didn't go very well, and I've realised that actually, do you know what, I just want to go fishing, because when it doesn't happen, then you're a little bit more disheartened, sort of thing. So I am out fishing. I know there's a chance of a bream. I've got some crab, I've got some squid, I've got some crab, squid, mackerel. So yeah, hopefully we can pick up a couple of fish. I'll get the camera set up in a second, just in here. Hopefully it will get it out the wind and see how we do. I'll show you the sea conditions. It's pretty choppy and there's a lot of colour in close, but we should easily be able to get out over that. Try and get on the edge of it, I suppose. It's really good ground here. I mean, I'm right next to the ground where I do really quite well for the bream in the summer. And now we're into autumn, of course. You know, we've got all the winter species coming in. Anyway, I'll show you the rigs, show you my rods, and then let's get fishing. Alrighty, so in the blue corner, we've got the Daiwa Air Surf, and that is paired up with the Shimano Ultegras. Both of them are Shimano Ultegras, £45. That's only a 4-strand braid, because it's cheap really, and I'm pretty cheap. All of this stuff, well, these are second hand, this is second hand. This one I did buy new, and this is the replacement one for the one that I broke. But all of this stuff, I sold all of my other gear, and I bought all this stuff second hand. So £45 braid to a tapered leader, where I've cut a bunch of it off, so it's probably about £30 maybe 35, maybe even 40, who knows, but it's quite thin, and I've tied that onto there. And then because the air surf is quite a bit tippier, that's what I'm using as my scratching rig tonight. 6-ounce leads, because there's a lot of swell out there. 6-ounce leads, a bunch of sequins, a bunch of glow beads, a little size 1 hook, and a bit of squid. And that's a 1 up, 1 down. It's not clipped, don't have to punch it out there very far. This side, I've just got a small, ow my knee, a 2.0 pulley pennel. There's a 2.0 on the bottom. I think that might even be a 1.0 wide mouth on the top. It's just a small bait. That's half a large sand eel and a little bit of squid wrapped up the side, and just see what comes along. Yeah, it's 7 o'clock. We've got 2 hours, 3 hours till high tide, 2 hours till it gets dark. So we're fishing up into darkness, and then maybe an hour or so down. Yeah, hopefully we can get a fish. But yeah, let's get it on. That tide a bit. Yeah, it's not very thin, it's like £45. Well, we're out fishing. It's windy. It's one of the biggest tides. I think tomorrow is actually the full moon, but it's a massive tide tonight. I mean, it should be alright, it should be fishable. Like I say, I mean, I'm fishing with 6s. They're starting to rip around to the right a little bit, but they'll find their little snag, and then I can lose a rig, so that's great. But yeah, we'll see how we get on anyway. Hopefully we can get a fish. Between the two of us, hopefully we can get at least 1 bream, maybe a bass, smooth hound, ray, conger, you name it, we'll go for it. We'll try it anyway. Well, we definitely haven't managed to find any shelter, but we'll push on through anyway. Let me give you a clean. That's a bit better. Yeah, my left-hand rod is a little bit like a washing line at the moment, but that's to be expected. It's been super rough. We've had like gusting 30, 40, 45 miles an hour, and today it's the most calm day and it's still howling. It's the calmest day I've got all week, so. But it's not raining. That right-hand rod keeps getting whacked, but I think it's the weed going down the line. So I'm going to check it now. Yeah, this is going to be pretty hard work today. I've had like 2 casts on each rod already. Probably been fishing for maybe 20 minutes. There's a lot of weed, but the good thing is both rods have been completely stripped. So they're obviously on the bottom, and even though there's a lot of weed in the water, it must be quite high up. It's not on the deck, because it means the crabs are still able to get to my bait, so they're not getting masked by the weed. So hopefully we're able to pull something out, but early days, early days. Alright, so that's twice now that my sand eel and squid wrap has been absolutely annihilated. It's literally just a little bit of bait elastic left on the pennel, so I'm going to chuck a slightly bigger bait out, which is basically just a little bit of a fillet of the mackerel, taken basically filleted from half of the mackerel down, a full-size mackerel. I'm going to leave the top half of the mackerel for a big bait later. I'll just literally just throw it over the edge. I've brought some chum with me today, which is basically old bits of mackerel, bits of sand eel, bits of all sorts that I've got in the freezer. I've chopped it up, put it in a takeaway tub. It's been in the bottom of the freezer for probably the best part of a year, and I've brought it out tonight just to chuck in the water a little bit later. Not right now, but pretty much at the top of the tide. I'll dump a load of it out there, drop a big bait right in the middle of it, and hopefully we can get a bass. Well, so I come sitting here for a little minute. It's breezy, man. So yeah, I think I'm gonna have a little change of tactics. So I was using that pulley, but see, I'm still using. I bought a bulk load of cheap components. So I've got cheap imps, like 50 for, I don't know, ridiculous amount of money, and same with the pulley beads. And the pulley beads are actually koiki ones, but they are one of the cheaper options, you know. And yeah, the pulley bead is broken on the rig, and my imp clip is gone. So at the moment I've just dumped it like 15 yards out. So I'm going to change that rig over to a running ledger anyway, locked in one, because I'm fishing in pretty close anyway. So I'm going to bait that up now with a mackerel head. I'll give you a quick show, and then we'll get that in. I think I'm going to start, it's just about 8 o'clock I think. I'm going to start thinking about getting a little bit of chum in the water and see if we can't bring something in. There's rocks right in front of us here, and you can see the needles just to my left. Like I say, it's a lovely mark. We've got this massive ledge that comes out there, Warden Ledge, which is notoriously good for bass. It holds bass really well, but I mean, we've got no chance of getting anywhere near it today. Like I say, with this wind, it's way too sketchy. So yeah, we'll just dump a few in close here. The bait comes in here, and then it goes out a little bit around that landslip. So it's not a bad little holding ground for some fish, if there are any there. And hopefully we can get into one. But I'm going to quickly get a rig out of the box, and I'll bait up that mackerel head, and then we'll get that out. Hopefully get a fish. I'm still persisting with the one up, one down. It's not clipped. It's probably only about 50 yards out at the moment. and I've kept it quite far to the left, so the tide's coming in left to right and I'm fishing up tide. So basically if the weed comes, it's going to hit the line, come up the line, rather than going down the line and then potentially masking my bait. But I've just got 2 massive hunks of mackerel on that at the moment. The crabs, like I say, crab activity is super high. Everything's getting nailed. So yeah, a bit of a bigger bait. Hopefully there'll be a little bit left on there that might tempt a nice little, I don't know, £1.25, £1.5 bream would be nice. I said to Daisy when I left, I was like, you know what babe, we're going to catch 2 bream tonight. Yeah, got a lot of weed so far. But yeah, let's keep trying anyway. Woo! Alrighty, so I really hope you can hear what I'm saying. Normally the little dead cat thing on the top's pretty decent. So that's the bait that I'm going to chuck out for a bass. It's basically half a mackerel, maybe just under half a mackerel, but it's got all the guts still in it. It's got the guts hanging out of it there. So we've got a 5.0 wide mouth. I'm going to stick it underneath the jaw, straight through the top of its head. It's not, like I say, it's on a pennel. Then I'm going to stick that one down its back. So that's sticking out of it there. So I'm going to bind the crap out of that. It's a bait elastic, making sure, like everyone says, I mean everyone has seen this, and everyone probably knows it, but for the odd people that don't, like I say, I am by no means an expert. If you've watched any of my videos of late, I am not doing very well. But we're out there trying, that's the main thing. And I really enjoy my fishing. To get loads of bait elastic right on the, over the eye. You can't really see that, but there you go, there's the eye. So get loads of bait elastic on that. Basically stop that hook from moving. And like I said before in the other video, get that elastic pretty tight and it's just going to keep squeezing juice and blood and all sorts out of it. Like that. And then we've got that. I've got mine on a little bit of like silicone tubing. I'm going to push that back into the snout. So that will sit there like that. Now, I've said this before in another video. In fact, you know what? I'm going to change that. Come in that way. That's better. Because you notice then, when I put that through, that bit of line was coming across here at a diagonal. And that's going to not more than likely, but possibly stop a hook up. So I've just changed that. Means both hooks are coming out the same side, but to be honest, I don't really think it matters. I'm going for a bass. If a bass takes that, it's getting hooked. Like I say, that is on a running ledger, locked in. I've got about 4 foot locked in. I'm having to put a grip on it because it is really bumpy out there. Normally it'd be like a 3 or 4 ounce lead, just let it roll around. But let's chuck that out and see what happens. Hello! Yeah, so I've got both rods in super close now. Maybe sort of 15-20 yards out max. There's rocks right underneath it, so I've just tried to get it on the edge, and you can't really see it on the camera, but there's a line of dirty water, and again it's only maybe stops 20 yards out and then it's clear. So just dropping them on the edge of that, so I've got that whole mackerel head and guts, basically the half mackerel top end with the head on my right hand rod. On it, that's on the locked in running ledger, and then on that pulley rig, which is bust, but I am going to change that because I pulled it in. I've chucked it back out for a minute while I've got another rig ready. It's on a pulley, and every other bait when I've been launching it has been nailed by the crabs, even the pulley. But obviously at distance, that pulley rig is on the ground, where because I'm casting in closer, I think the pulley rig is just waving in the tide, so it's not actually on the deck at all, because it wasn't touched. So what I've done now is I've got an up and over rig, which is it's a pulley up and over. So basically it's like a running ledger anyway. So I'm going to change that to that one, and then if I do decide to sort of give it a little bit more oomph, then I can. But yeah, so far, no fish. But like I say, we've both basically just gone all out for a bass now. We've chucked a load of chum in. I'll show you the chum. So there we go. So basically, you can see there's all odds and sods in there. There's a bit of pout, there's mackerel, there's probably some scad in there, and it's all just chopped up into sort of inch square pieces. I've chucked one of these tubs in already, and we're probably getting close to the top of the tide. The sea is definitely eased off. The wind has actually dropped a little bit, which it was supposed to, but it's supposed to be a lot lighter than this. So yeah, I'll chuck that lot in a minute as well. I've got a couple of peeler crab, a couple of spiders, so I'll chuck a whole one of those out in a minute. You never know, we might get a fish, but that wind has dropped. Like I say, it's supposed to be only gusting 20, and it's probably gusting 25, 30, sustained 20 at the moment, but it's easing a tiny bit, which is quite nice.
Ahead.
No, that was just on a bloody tail fillet.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Well, well, I'm jammy, man, when it comes to bass fishing. I was sorting out my other rod, and I just turned my head, and my braid from the other rod's like flapping in front of my face. So what the hell's going on here? Slack line? Real, nothing. Boom. Lovely little bass. Perfect table size, perfect for 2 people. Yes, happy days. Beautiful fish. I mean, they are stunning creatures, aren't they? I guess that's maybe, what, £2? But it's definitely big enough to take home. Chuffed. Yeah, so that's it, we're bass fishing now. Like I say, hopefully I can get one more. Like I say, we're only allowed 2 anyway, so hopefully we can get another one. Oh, I'm chuffed. I say it's only a small one, it's like probably literally about £2. But perfect to take home for food. Yeah, just literally turned around and it was super slack. Reeled. And then yeah, there it was on the end, so perfect. So like I say, hopefully, I'm going to bait both rods up again now, because I had one out anyway, I was in the middle of baiting it up. So that was just on the tail end fillet. And that was on the up and over rig.
Got any sharks?
No sharks. No, I've got a bass.
Got a silver bar. Any dolphins?
No.
Put them back in, or do we?
Right, hopefully. But the trouble is, there's still a tiny bit. So the only problem with this camera, it's really good at night time because it takes every tiny bit of light that it's available to the lens and uses it. But it means you can't see the rod tips at the moment, even though I've got a torch on them. So maybe zoom that in a bit. There we go. So yeah, that wind has definitely dropped off a bit, but hopefully, like I say, we can get another one. We're going to get some more chum in the water now, and hopefully we can bring another one in. Ah, there we go. Right, so we've got 2 fresh baits out there, mackerel head again and a mackerel fillet. Hopefully one of them will go screaming off, and then maybe this time I'll actually see it. Right, well, it's gone quiet for a little minute, so basically what I've done is I've just chucked one out on that up and over. It's basically, I've reeled in and the piece of mackerel is untouched, so I've wrapped a whole squid up the side of it, looped it up this time, up and over, and whacked it out. The tide has definitely eased off quite considerably. The wind's dropped loads actually, it's really quite comfortable now. So I've just chucked one out a little bit further, see if we can pick someone else up, and I'll keep fishing with the right hand rod in close. Okay. Nick's holding on to his rod at the moment, so I think he's been getting a bite, but he's kept it very, very quiet. But yeah, man, happy days. Look at that sky behind, it's amazing. There we go. Gonna chuck that out. It's a nice, that's a whole crab, that is, whole spider. Gonna chuck it in again about 20 yards. See what happens. Just got bitten off by something. Yeah. Ooh, that was a fucking bite, wasn't it? See that? Yeah, with the crab on. Oh, that's a bit gutting. Just had a really big bite. Well, I say really big bite. It looked quite a decent bite on the left-hand rod, which is a piece of bloody crab, which I've put out a distance on the up and over. Big pull down, bounced back. Left it for a few minutes and thought I better check that, because it might, if it was a conger, it might have bitten me off. It was snagged straight in, and managed to snap the hook, which I haven't done for a while. Not a decent one. That was a 3/0. Yeah, snapped it. So I've quickly chucked another hook on there. Chucked the other half of the crab out. Like I say, it's 11 o'clock now, so not going to give it too much longer. I've just got a fresh mackerel head out there. I'm going to chop the rest of that mackerel up, chuck that out for a bit of chum, and hopefully we can get another bite in the next half hour. Failing that, we should be packing up. But the sea is calmed right off now. It's been probably ebbing for about an hour, and it's super still. It's really easy fishing now. Not a drop of weed, brilliant. But also not many bites. Oh, well, there we go. Just weighed that bass. It was £2.9, just over £2.9. So yeah, happy with that. Totally happy. I'm going to pack one of these rods up. Pack the bass one up actually, because that other one had a bite on it at a distance with the crab. So I'm going to pack one up, leave that one out there for a second, and then I will come back and sign off. Ah, there we go. Rods are away, everything is away apart from this. So not a bad session, like I say. The weather's turned out pretty reasonable. It is now not even gusting 20, I would have said, so much more comfortable fishing near the end there. And like I say, as soon as the tide turned, there wasn't a lot of weed, and we ended up bass fishing and caught a bass, so it was all right. So yeah, I really enjoyed it, to be honest. I'm not going to be fishing for a little while now because we got all the kids together next week. I'm not going to get out again this week, so might try and sneak out with everybody, see if we can't get a bream or two, but it's all very much weather dependent. So like I say, I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you as always for all of your support. I am putting another order in for some stickers. If anybody wants a sticker, then please let me know. And likewise, the t-shirts, the caps, the hoodies and the beanies are still available, and I'll keep, people are ordering them, I'm just ordering them as they come in. So if anyone wants one, please let me know, and I will see you on the next one. So till then, please take care, stay safe, and I will maybe see you out there. Cheers.